So first off, I'd like to congratulate the Houston Astros for winning the 2017 World Series, going over the Dodgers in 7 games. Honestly, once again, my predictions were off after rooting against the Dodgers in the division and championship series. I finally rooted for the Dodgers, and they, of course, lose now. Now, with baseball over, you may ask, what am I going to talk about? Well, there's still some baseball news left. As much as some people like to fawn over NFL signings, I do the same for baseball. For example, just today, Justin Upton signed a 5-year extension to keep him in Los Angeles with the Angels. He had an opt-out he could have used this year. Instead, he's going to try and shore up an Angels offense that right now is really Trout and some secondary pieces. There's also other news to talk about too. Managers, Joe Girardi, which I'll get my one piece in. The main reason he was fired is because the Yankees want a manager who can rubber stamp decisions from the front office. That's the way that teams are managed now. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's the way it is. Girardi's more of the old school type of manager, and that's a dying breed right now. But more importantly, we'll talk about other sports too. Unfortunately and fortunately, the NFL and its protests is the highlight of this. Now you're probably asking, oh, it's another one of Greg's rants about the NFL and protesting. Oh, why does this affect us? It's going to affect you a big way, especially if you watch football regularly. For example, Monday Night Football, an institution to ESPN by this point, might not be renewed after its contract expires in 2021. For someone who's religious in football, that's a really big deal. Other stuff is Papa John's just pulled all their commercials. As of last week, they were talking about pulling some of them. I believe they're pulling all of them now. They're getting complaints about being associated with the NFL right now. And that's really the big point about why I'm talking about the NFL and the protests. You had Houston Texans owner Rob McNair say that we can't let the inmates run the prison. And while that's a really, really bad choice of words right now for the NFL, the sentiment is exactly what's happening. A better example would be that there are too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. You had the NFL protests, which started from Colin Kaepernick protesting about racial inequality. And it's morphed into this thing that they're protesting the anthem from everything from the President of the United States. Housing reform. Don't ask me how that one started. Ownership groups that aren't in line with the players. And with all this protest, you finally have fans saying, no more, we will not stand for this. That they've stood by players through domestic disputes, animal abuse, all this stuff. And to them, the gall of the players saying that we can tell you what's morally right when there's all this stuff going on, and the American people, by all accounts, are not standing for it. One last thing I'll say on this, and I've made this analogy before, that people compare these protests to Jackie Robinson and the baseball civil rights movement. Bruce Maxwell, the only MLB player to date who has kneeled for the national anthem, was just arrested this week by threatening a delivery woman with a gun. If Jackie Robinson threatened a reporter or a delivery person with a gun, would he have stayed in Major League Baseball? And how different integration into pro sports would have been.